Hey everyone, welcome to Gray Man Prepping. Tonight is Tactical Tuesday, and we're going to be talking about tactics, gear, and more, but for a special group of people, because tonight's topic is prepping for family members with disabilities. How's everybody doing out there? Oh, I forgot to turn my light up here to make my green screen work a little bit better. There we go. How's everybody doing tonight? Let me get over here to the chat and I can say hi to everybody. All right, so first one in tonight was Starla Doak. Then Walt Rogers, then Suzanne Goulet, and they're talking then Where to Begin Homestead. That's Janice. And then Kaylin Strain's in the house. Gunslinger Outdoors is here. And Brenda Duncan 1900 Homestead. Welcome. All right. Now, I've been mentioning this one. Actually, I started mentioning tonight's one about a couple months ago. It is a special request by one of my friends here, Keith Cronk. And he first, as always, I expect with him, he went and checked with Steve at Corsair Trainers. Was talking with him about it, and Steve said, whoa, that's way above my head, way above my pay grade, go to Gil. And so he came over and said, hey, you know, do something on this. He says he doesn't see hardly anybody talking about in the prepping community about prepping for family members that have disabilities or special needs, if you prefer that term used for it. So that's what tonight's all about. And one of the things I would like to say thank you to are my channel members. Channel members here in the side chat so far is Suzanne Goulet, Where to Begin Homestead. And I think Kaylin Strain is one. And all right, so those are the ones that are here in the chat that are channel members. All right. Suburban Hillbillies come in. How you doing? And who else came in here? Jeremy at Tennessee Tactical 1 is here. And I don't know if you can hear it, but I can hear the snowplow tractor going by outside. Yeah, I was shoveling a bunch of snow, and I made hardly a dent in it today. We had some good winds blowing. It started snowing about 11:30 last night, and about 4 o'clock, it lit up and it stopped snowing for a little bit. So I started shoveling out there, and the front walkway in front of the house. And I measured. I put a short up there. Actually, no. Actually, I think that short comes out tonight. Yeah, that short comes out in about 3 hours. Almost 3 hours and 45 minutes. It'll post automatically here. I'll give you a sneak hint on it. I videoed measuring 10.5 inches on the walkway in front. I will be doing the one after this. I'll be going to go out in the backyard and doing some video on the back patio because it's about an 18-inch snow drift up there where it was blowing up against the side of the house and on the whole back patio there. That's what was taking me so long to shovel off that tonight. So, yeah, the one space where there's hardly any snow was between the house and the shop where it acts as a wind tunnel, and it just kept blowing snow right on by. So it didn't settle there, but everywhere else, man, it was settling. Out in the middle of that huge driveway I poured, 12 inches deep out there. So, all right. I'd like to say hi to a couple more people come in. It's Hello Tofu. Tina Weber Homestead. Jay is in the house. And did I miss anybody else slip in here? Okay, I think I got everybody. Okay. All right, so tonight's topic being, and I froze for a second, prepping for family members with disability. And I have to agree with Keith. I have not seen hardly anybody, any other channels talking about prepping for family members with disabilities and talking about the difficulties that there is. And that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about a bunch of different difficulties in that tonight and talk about some of the things you need to remember to prep for. And, okay, we had Mary Beth Smith come in. We had Doris Artman come in. And Mac at Southern Blessed Homestead is in the house. And let's see, anything else here? Anybody else coming? Good. Everybody's talking to each other. Good. Connect. There are a lot of great channels in the side chat. If you don't put out the content, check out some of these other channels out there. Great content on them. And Mac was putting at Southern Blessed Homestead was putting out some funny stuff out on Facebook like he normally does. Romantic tips: get your wife these slipper mops, so as she walks around, she can mop the floor without bending over. And then he says, "Follow me for more romantic tips." All right, so let's jump into this a little bit better here. So I'm going to make me small and it big. And we're going to take a look at a couple slides here I got. And we're going to start talking about it. Before I do, okay, let's go. Yes. Disabilities was one of the way it was put to me. But like I said, you can put in there special needs instead of disabilities. Because some people, it's not really a disability, it's just a special need. All right? They're fully functional otherwise, but they just have special needs for certain things. All right, so let's go here and bring up the first slide. Obvious ones we see, around is a mobility disability or special need. That's one that stands out in your face all the time. Those that can't see. But there are a whole bunch of invisible disabilities. Now, a lot of you probably, if you're watching on a phone, you're not going to see a laptop. You might be able to, see this, on it. But there are a lot of them out here. Ones that have affected my extended family. My one brother-in-law had Crohn's disease. It got so bad that he couldn't deal with it anymore, and he took the big step in the backyard. But there are, and if a major SHTF event or Tawaki, the end of the world as we know it, event happens, there may be some of them thinking that they're going to lessen the burden on family members by taking care of themselves. So that's one of the things you got to, you need to, one of the ways of prepping is talk to your family members and make sure you don't want them taking a quick way out. All right. My grandson has autism. My middle child, Alex, has Asperger's syndrome a little bit. So there are things to consider on all of these different ones, different things that affect people. And if you look at rheumatoid arthritis, my wife's best friend, she has it severely and has medications she has to have. What do they need to prep? They need to prep the medication she needs and start stocking up on the stuff that the doctor doesn't want to give, and like a 5-year prescription for, but need to start building up slowly prescriptions where she can get it. And she's also started checking about getting medications from over the border, from our neighbors to the north. So there are, okay, who else just slipped in here? Kathy D. Salt and Light, Moon over Miami. Hey guys, how's it going? So, when you're thinking about your family members, and it could be something really simple that you might not think of. Hey, I need a CPAP machine. So I've gotten extra masks. I got extra hoses. I've gotten a boatload of extra filters that go for the air intake. Plus, I save all the old filters. When I get about 10 of them done, I wash them in a solution, and that helps get them clean again so I can reuse them. I could, if I wanted to, I could buy another machine for about $400 and just pack it away to have it in an emergency in case it breaks down after stuff goes up. Hey, Denise, Green Granny 2 is in the house. Also another channel member. All right, one of the things I want to talk about here, let me shift this back a little bit. There we go. Just to clarify some things, because I know some people throw things out, some of the terms out. Back in the 70s, we classified 4 different types of events. One is an emergency, an automobile accident, your house catches on fire. Those are emergencies. And then some of the events, depending on how serious they are, bridge from emergencies over into the second category, which is life-altering events. And hurricane falls into a life-altering event if it hits you. Major earthquakes, if your whole house comes down and your whole city is, like, all right, the Loma Prieta earthquake that hit San Francisco Bay Area. For many, that was a life-altering event. That was not an SHTF, which is the third level. SHTF, polite way of saying it, the poop hitting the fan. For SHTF, the big difference is that on SHTF, government has failed. It is not operational. And to recover from an SHTF event generally can take figure 1 to 5 years. And it doesn't affect a region, it affects the entire country. All right. So SHTF affects the entire country. It has a 1 to 5 year recovery thing. Tuwaki, on the other hand, not only does it affect the entire country, it affects most of the world, and it'll take a couple of decades to recover from, for the government to restore itself, and for everything to start to recover and rebuild. Okay, so if you Tuwaki events, there has not been one since Noah's flood. Okay, for SHTF, World War II, World War I for several countries in Europe was an HTF event. The government failed, war was going on, and it was a total poop storm. Oh, she has come in the house. It's CB at Hugo Homestead. All right. So one of the things you need to consider, and well, all right, I'm trying to get this put in perspective for everybody. All right, so I said it would take 1 to 5 years to recover from an SHTF event. Could it take longer? Could it take longer? Yes, it could. But you're looking at least a year before government reestablish itself across the entire nation. So during this time period, whatever it is that besides what you need, think of the special needs of those family members. All right. For my grandson, the one that has autism, we've been working with him. He's still not potty trained. He's 7, still working on it. And so my daughter has increased her monthly request for the pull-ups that he wears. And so she's slowly building up a supply to carry him through if something happens and they can't get any for a while. Do they have nearly enough? No, they don't. They also can't afford it to go out and buy a boatload of them for him, because all of a sudden it may go click, bing. Oh, now I can go potty all the time, and he can actually use the potty. Correct, Tofu. How now? Taking that to the next step for the like Jay mentioned, elderly people, the incontinence, the pens and those stuff, you know. And the thing is, though, hey, froze. Some people who may not have a problem now, in 2 years into a SHTF event, suddenly develop. Oh, I need to get depends. We need to find some depends somewhere in some place where people haven't just used them all up or whatever. And so there are different things to do now. Before they had depends, they had regular cloth diapers for everybody, including adults, and they had the washable plastic underwear that went over them to contain any liquids and stuff. So that's another option people need to look at. Hey, Wayne, the ungrateful peasant is in the house. So thinking about special needs, you got to look into the future on that, because it may not be what everyone has now. You start developing arthritis, or someone breaks a leg, and now they need a cane to get around. Hey, Anna Ammons. COPD, exactly. I talked a little bit about my CPAP for sleeping. There was a good friend. And Wayne Howdegarden, Glenn Howdegarden is in the house, and Barry's Storms, Radios, and Cats. Okay, so there was a friend of mine, the one who taught me how to come on doing live streams using StreamYard. That was Will Russell of Just in Time Preparedness. He passed away about a year and a half ago now. Will had COPD severely. He had a CPAP with the oxygen tube hooked up to it. During the daytime, he was with oxygen. He had the big tanks there, and a bunch of people in the community got together and got him an oxygen generator so he could be more mobile. And we were hoping that he'd get more mobile and become more active and start losing some of the weight that had slowed him down. All right. Nerve damage is also one. Okay. Kayla has some information. Okay. Specific pad for incontinence. Right. Good, Kaylin. Janice says her mother has stage 4 COPD. Hearing loss. My wife has always had ringing in her ears before we even got married. Then her time in the military didn't help that. And about 8-9 years ago, I started getting ringing in the ears and stuff. And so sometimes when we're both ringing is really bad, it's like, what? And we also like, wait, don't get mad. I got the ringing really bad right now. And so, we worry about that too. And Star Homestead India is in the house. All right, here's some other ones, pacemaker and cancer. Yeah. Yeah. So, and Wayne says, tetanitis is forever. You survive. Yeah. So, there are a lot of things to look at. Everything on, I get my hands in the right position. This list over here. These are some of the silent ones. And so you need to make a list of special things that you have to buy for that person now. You know, that's like I've always said. Start out, if you look at your prep for the day, the first thing I said, get a notebook, write stuff down. Make a list of everything you got to buy special for them. Find out, and then if there's special medications and stuff that you have to have prescriptions for, talk to your doctor. Let them know you're concerned about certain things. Alicia is in the house. And I think her channel name says it all right there. All right. She has special needs. So look what you're spending now. Figure out what you're spending. It's not all about food. And it's not just all about water. Yes, we talk about medications quite a bit. But and medicines, you know, medicines and medications are one you can buy over the counter. The other one you got to get prescriptions for. Okay, so try to have a serious sit down with your doctor. Explain, hey, I'm worried about this, and this happening. I want to have, you know, at least 1 or 2 prescriptions worth at home that I can run through the rotation. Use the oldest first, and you know. And restock from behind, but I always have them in case something happens and I can't get to the pharmacy, or something happens to the supply and demand with the supply chain, or something comes up where we're not stuck without the medications we need for our loved one. Hang on, just jump. Yeah. And so there are a lot of things we can do. Also do herbs. Yeah, you can also look for alternatives, and there's a lot of people are discovering a lot of alternatives to the certain medications. Hey, Susan, how's it going? We got Susan Marshall from south of me down in Utah. It was... All right, Jay has a comment here. Just reading the book 1 second after. Yeah. Yes, there are several of the novels that I like to read from authors that aren't just fiction authors. They're also nonfiction authors as well. And they write for magazines and stuff as well. And some of their stuff, they go through the stuff. And this was, I started reading Jerry Ahern back in the 80s. And even back then, there were some good people that were realizing this problem, were addressing it in their novels and in magazine articles as well. Q, that's the thing with my CPAP. If I put water in mine, I get all sorts of screwed up on it. I've used water in it maybe the first 2 weeks I had it, and then I cut it out, and then I slept better. But for those that have to have water, distilled water for their CPAP, don't think you can just go, it's down, I'll just go ahead and use whatever water source we can, put regular water in it. Think about getting one of those little stills to distill water. Yeah. I know they're one of the channels most of us in here follow, Courtney or Corky over at Wide Family Farm. She and Dustin got a still of one still. Or did they get a second still now? They have at least one still. And for making tinctures and other things. And one thing is to be able to distill water. Yeah, right now what I do, if you've seen some of my videos where I show my wood burning stove, what I'm doing so I don't have to use water in mine because it does, the humidity in here goes down through the floor. Well, I got 3 big pots sitting on top of my wood burning stove, and I'm filling those up with water, probably about 3 to 4 gallons a day to get, to bring the humidity up, trying to get it up to 40% humidity, which is optimal for me not to have any problems. You couldn't sleep with your CPAP. I know some people have a problem, and what I found, they tried to get me to use the nose thing, and I told them right off the bat, that's not going to work. Well, let's just try it for a week. And when the guy came back, he goes, well, how'd that work? I go, didn't work at all. And my wife said, yeah, it didn't work at all. He's still there doing the same problems because that thing where it just blows up the nose, his mouth just opens up and just comes right back out, and I still stop breathing. And then they tried giving me the half face, or what they call the full face, which doesn't meet up with any of the industrial stuff as far as definition, but they call it a full face, and it covers that. And it was a little bit, it worked a little bit better, but I was getting problems with my eyes because the ducts that goes into the sinuses was building up pressure, and it was blowing air out through my eyes, and my eyes were getting really dried out. Hey, Canadian, how's it going? And I told him, I kept telling him from the beginning, I need what we call a real full face. Well, this is what I know. That is a half face. According to NIOSH, that is a half face. I need a full face. Covers the eyes and everything. Well, you can't, nobody can use those. I don't know why you make them. I said, I can't do without it. He ordered it, got it to me, got the right size. Perfect. Because, and he goes, well, how are you going to sleep? Not a problem. I put it on, it locks on. It has a swivel this way and a swivel this way, so the hose can't get kinked up and everything. And when I roll over, the hose is long enough, and it's not a problem. I just can't sleep on your stomach, which I shouldn't be sleeping on my stomach anyways. And it worked. So the full face, or as the CPAP industry calls it, a whole face mask, what covers the eyes as well, stopped the problem with the eyes because it was pressurized all around my eyes and inside just the same, and everything worked perfect. My wife said yes, it's working on him, and their sales rep didn't believe you. Yeah, so you got to be careful. Some of those sales reps, they just got a job. They really don't know what they're doing. Yeah, very long hose. Yeah, and that's the thing. So I have the extra long hose. Yeah, I think it's 12 inches longer, and I toss and turn anyways at night, and I've yet to pull it out. So some people that can't use this out, they give up on it because they don't realize that either the half face or full face or the whole face is the one that's going to work for them. Let's see. I'm looking here at some of the different things in here. Lupus, irritable bowel syndrome. Some of these things are just things that you got, medications you got to have for. Oh, food allergies. You have someone with food allergies. You probably already know already, but you've been stockpiling beans and stuff. Well, beans, and for a while, my wife and I were stockpiling nuts. And then my wife suddenly was developing intolerance for first almonds and then cashews. And so the only way she eats those is she remembers an hour beforehand to take Beano. Otherwise, she gets bad gas and everything else when she eats them. So there are certain dietary needs as well that you need to take care of for certain people. Now, speaking of dietary, I'm going to throw this out here. This is not necessarily for people with special needs, but it is for some people with special needs. High fructose corn syrup. or as I like to call it, liquid death. If those have been members or been following my channel for both my channels, for those who don't know, my other channel is Camp Patton, one word, Family Compound. It's usually what I do all my most of my gardening, homesteading stuff on. I've had Doc Bones and Nurse Amy of doomandbloom.net, also of Doc Bones Nurse Amy YouTube channel on there. And they, Doc is a little less outspoken on it, but Amy unloads like the Missouri doing a broadside on it. She hates high fructose corn syrup. She's convinced through all the evidence that they found that it is a major contributing factor to the amount of the dramatic increase of autism and Asperger's in the United States. No one's willing to do a study on it because the corn industry pays against it. So, but we have noticed with our kids change in their attitudes when they eat more something that does have the high fructose corn syrup in it. One of the things my wife and I got, and we're using a bunch, and we didn't even think about high fructose corn syrup when we first got married, and we stocked up on a lot of the Del Monte canned pasta sauces. Well, my daughter had a little bit of problems. My second child, my oldest son, has Asperger's, and we started cutting back on certain things, just trying to figure out what was going on. My third child, they said he had ADHD and stuff, and they tried to put him on drugs out, so I took him back off the drugs, and he was just a normal kid. And so the high fructose corn syrup is basically, corn is not good for people. All right. And high fructose corn syrup being is so much worse than regular corn syrup. Corn syrup's not good for you. High fructose corn syrup's really not good for you. And so we're on our food, we're trying to eliminate it all from it. Okay, high fructose corn syrup, they squeeze the corn, get a sugary type sap out of it, and then they process it to get corn syrup, and then they process it more to get high fructose corn syrup or high sugar corn syrup. So, and so what we wound up doing is my Alex, the one that has Asperger's, loves pancakes and waffles. He'll make pancakes and waffles every day if you'll let him. And when we, my wife decided, when he started putting on a little weight, my wife went and got the sugar-free syrup, which does not have high fructose corn syrup in it, and he became much more stable, I should say, on it. That there's and high fructose corn syrup. One of the companies that used to brag about having, we don't use any of these artificial sweeteners, we use real cane sugar, no longer uses real cane sugar as the primary ingredient. They use high fructose corn syrup, Smuckers, for most of their stuff, most of their jams and jellies. I did find out, though, if you look for commercially done high fructose free corn syrups, you can find strawberry high fructose corn syrup jams and jellies. You can find some of them out there. Welch's makes a high fructose corn syrup HFC free strawberry jam, but they still make the grape with the high fructose corn syrup. They don't make a one free. They got blackberry jam, raspberry jam, strawberry that are high fructose corn syrup free. So you got to do your looking around. Which brings us to another point when it comes to diet. If you can grow it and can it yourself, you can control what's going in there. Now, my wife made some apricot jam for me, no sugar. All right, and basically, it was a long process to do it, to boil it down, cook it down, do everything to it to make it. And so, yeah. So, and Wayne's right. Raw unfiltered honeys are a great alternative when you need to add something sweet but maintain your health, especially if it's local honey, because the bees and stuff pick up local pollen, and the honey then doesn't, it basically kind of acts as an insulator and doesn't contribute to allergies so much. All right. No, but it's like regular corn syrup. Yeah, and so anything, there are a lot of doctors out there saying this now, and with what's been happening with my digestion, I used to eat corn a whole bunch, and then over the last 5 or 6 years, it's been hard on my stomach, and it's not being digested. And a lot of nutritionists, a lot of scientists, and doctors are speaking out, and they're getting smooshed by the corn industry, saying corn is not good for human consumption. Our bodies aren't designed to eat corn, whereas a cow has 4 stomachs and they can eat that sort of stuff. And chickens, with their craw and everything else, process it a little bit better. And Wayne has a good, if I can get it, there we go. Yeah. And soy is something else I'm, learning that it's not good for us more and more and more. I'm not sure yet. I will. How Suzanne, did you get the seeds from All the Thing Acres? Is Suzanne still in here? All right. Let's see some other things here. Think about here. All right. Medical equipment for those with special needs. We talked about CPAPs, canes, walkers, wheelchairs, crutches. Okay, I'm going to throw that up there. Don't forget about pets with disabilities and special needs as well. And come on, I was thinking about something here. Okay, they have the walkers that have the wheels on it and the hand brakes and stuff, and have a little chair on it, so they can walk around, sit, and do stuff. When my mom was getting in her late 80s, we got one of those for her. She really loved it. It really helped her getting around. All right, and Wayne throws another one out here. Hey, Tibor, how's it going? All right. One of the doctors I've been following, Eric Berg, was talking about soy and the stuff about how it affects certain things in the digestive tract, and how your body processes other things because you're taking soy oil with it and stuff. One of the other things I found out is that your vitamin D3 in the gel caps, most of it is soy oil. Those little things. You can get the non-soy ones. What do they have in it? Olive oil. and olive oil is good for you anyways. So just add it, salad dressings rather than getting all these Hidden Ranch and Thousand Island and French and blue cheese. Olive oil and vinegar, better for you, healthier for you, gives you your vitamin D3, and helps your digestion and everything else. So, which may help some of the things that certain people have with special needs. Going back to Crohn's disease, I'm trying to remember which doctor it was talking about they're starting to do a study for diet change and adding into it olive oil, getting rid of normal vegetable oils, soy oils, corn oil, all these other oils which they're finding are bad for human digestion. And so hopefully within the next year, we'll see a paper come out, either yay or nay, on the results for Crohn's disease on olive oil in the diet. Yeah, and now I realize why my grandmother and mother most of the time put olive oil and vinegar on their salads. And of course, probably about 3 times a year, my mother would splurge when we went out to a restaurant. She'd get blues cheese and dressing instead. Okay, avocado or almond oil, lemon juice, mustard vinegar. Okay, yeah. Avocado oil is another good one. I haven't heard about almond oil, but yeah, there's okay. Ever read the back of us? Yeah, you really want to get the cold pressed extra virgin olive oil is the better one. Anyways, not almond, olive. Okay. All right. I hadn't heard anything about almond oil. Yeah, that's why I say you got to make sure you read what the olive oil really is. It may have a little bit of olive oil in it, and it's got sunflower oil or safflower oil in it, which, yeah. But all right. So, what other things for disabilities? All right, let me look at the list here. I'm looking at the big blown up version of this little list here. Food allergies, epilepsy. Oh, the allergies, EpiPens. EpiPens is quick and stuff. I'm not a doctor. This is just things I've heard. I'm not making a recommendation on this. This is a disclaimer. But I can tell you what happened. My one niece had severe allergies, really bad, and asthma allergies and stuff. She was on medications and stuff. My sister became a distributor for a dietary weight loss all natural program called Herbalife. I'm not affiliated with Herbalife. And Nikki was having a really bad allergy attack, and they were going to take her to the hospital. Her somehow she'd lost her one nebulizer and stuff, and you're off taking her to the hospital. Before they left, one of the products they have there is called NRG, Nature's Raw Guarana root stuff. Gave her a couple of those pills. By the time they got to the hospital, she was breathing normal. But they still admitted her to say, all right, this is what we gave her. And the doctor goes, what happened? He told her what they gave her and stuff. And okay. And the next day when she was released, he said he looked it up and stuff, and he goes, that was probably the best thing they could have done for her. So because the way it stimulated things and did stuff for her on that. Whether it'll work for other types of allergies, like where you need to take Benadryl and other stuff, or go to the EpiPen for the quick, thing on it, I don't know. Not claiming any, special knowledge on this, but yeah. EpiPens are correct me if I'm wrong. I think they are still a prescription item only, and they are very expensive. Even though the doctors that created stuff in it did not patent it because they wanted it available to anybody, and then one of the big farm companies saw it wasn't patented, they went and patented it, and then they charged an arm and a leg for it. And that's a problem right now. Why when you can, if you can, start getting extra, and get extra each month if you can, and just remember, first in, first out. So as you build it up, so you rotate through it. So as stuff goes off, you put more on the end. Yeah, still prescription only. So there are a lot of things in little things, you do generally you're not thinking of. Oh, we got two EpiPens, whatever, blah, 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 and you forget. Oh, we need to get more. We need to do stuff. Yeah, to me that's called highway robbery, because it doesn't cost $800 to do it, and there was no research costs for these guys. So, all right. Brain injuries, chronic fatigue. I'm reading the list here. Diabetes, and of course now there's type A, type B, and now I think that they're talking about a type C on certain things coming out now. So I believe it was either Courtney at White Family Farm or Carol Fishes and Loaves Lives was talking about type C. And it's just beginning to come into play of what it is and does. Multiple chemical sensitivity. That's the middle column there on the bottom. It froze. When I was working for a construction company, I was on the fuel truck for a while, running the fuel truck, service truck. And so I was working with the mechanics when, back in the shop, after I got done fueling all the trucks out in the field and stuff. And a couple of the old time mechanics, whenever they had to do a brake job in any of the trucks, grabbed a couple cans of brake clean, which had 1.1.1 triethyl chloride in it, and they started spraying it around, just drenching the stuff down, just drenching it with the stuff, and everyone's like fumigating the entire shop. And after a while, man, it got so bad that I'd tell the boss, hey, they're spraying that stuff around, it's getting me, it's getting bad, and I'm already on overtime. So he said get out of here. But when I drove the fuel truck back in, I could pull in and go like, who's been spraying the damn brake clean again? And finally got talking to the shop superintendent several times, and when the guy that does all the solvent cleaning stuff and brings all the chemicals in, say, hey, is there an alternative for this brake cleaning stuff other than stuff that has the 1.1 triethyl chloride? And he goes, oh yeah, there's stuff that's a lot safer. It's just it's like 10 cents a can more. I just looked at the shop superintendent, and he goes, okay, we'll get that from now on. everybody, just about everybody was much happier in that. So there are chemicals out there that you become very sensitive to that over time just because of overexposure to it. Let's see. Oh, spinal disorders. Okay. All right, everybody. Who has bulging or protruding or both disc? I got 3 bulging discs, 2 protruding discs, so I got to be very careful of my back. But I have all the stuff I have from my chiropractor from years ago into him, getting me to be able to function normal again. And I kept it all. I'm not throwing any of that stuff out. I got all of my belts, braces, everything. I have 2 sets of 10 units, so I'm set on that. Yeah. Okay. Tibor made me think of something. Okay, if you're in a SHTF situation, and hang on, I gave the other one away, so hang on a second. Let me grab something here for you. If you're in an SHTF or TWACI situation and medical help ain't around, do you have medical books to help you do stuff? All right. I gave one away. This is the one that Doc Bone, you get in the right spot. Doc Bones and Nurse Amy gave me. This is one of the color editions. This is the $80 book. It is well worth it to get this. Set this off to the side here. That is the Survival Medicine Handbook, the long title, Survival Medicine Handbook dash the Essential Guide for When Help is Not on the Way. That's the 4th edition. Yeah. And yeah, I was this is one of the first printing of it, and it's autographed and everything to me. That's why I haven't given that one away, because that one's autographed to me. But I was thinking about getting the spiral bound one. It's another $10 to get the spiral bound one instead of the regular back one. But anyways, yeah, there. Any type of medical book you have to help you do things is good. It's better than nothing. Yeah, the black and white one's good too. In fact, I have the black and white, the 3rd edition black and white one on my Kindles. And so, yeah. So let's see. I think I pretty much covered everything. I was hoping to get some input from some people on the side here about some of the things that they've run into, problems in getting supplies for their loved ones with special needs. There are certain things that, just because of what they are, the unscrupulous money changers charge an arm and a leg because they can get away with charging an arm and a leg for something that shouldn't be nearly that price. The like I said in the beginning, get your notebook, big one, small one, whatever. Start writing down stuff of all the things that your special need family member needs to survive. And then start working on getting those things, because some things just kind of slip underneath the table. You're thinking, oh, I got an EpiPen or 2. Yeah, and see about getting another one. Other things, try to build stuff up. Now, this is what I've heard from several doctors, saying that if, like for an EpiPen, even though it's used by its best use by date, it's still good has some good for it. It's dropping off. It doesn't go boom and you can't use it anymore. It's just that its effectiveness is dropping off. So you don't, just because you it's past its best use by date, don't throw it out. Yeah, that's the problem. People using stuff for other things. Yeah. Now, whether or not it's honest, I know some people have. I am not advocating this. Some people have said, he had a fit and he flushed all his meds down the toilet. We need more meds. Not advocating that. Uh, exactly. And if you're like me, which I don't have prescription, I just use cheaters from the drugstore. Try them on and read the chart. Okay, this one works. So I got some. I started out with 1.25, 1.5. Most of mine are 1.75. I now have a couple of twos, and then I have one or two pair of 2.25 for if I'm doing a lot of reading, a lot of fine print. Yeah, I mean really fine print. It's like with this one, I can't even read it. I need to get the 2.25 or get the magnifying glass as well. But we in our first aid kits, my wife has gotten some 4s and just put them in the first aid kit. Yeah. Hey, Steph, how's it going? Idaho Garden Girl is in the house. All right. I wish Carol was here because Carol can talk about what she does. Talks about it, on Courtney's, and she's talked about it when she's been on mine, talking about things and stuff about with her the things she has. And I wish she was here to talk about that. She's probably just getting Malachi down. But yeah, there are. I'm trying to see if I can see rheumatoid. Okay, I'm just reading the list again. Come on. That's interesting. I don't. Oh, fibromyalgia is one of the things she has, and she had something else too. But yeah, there are certain things you gotta, that because of what you have changes what you can and can't get and stuff. Okay, I'm going to address this one here. Eye drops, but don't go all natural. The problems they've been having are for the ones getting infections are from the ones with the without the non preservatives in it. The ones that are preservative free, and so they're getting crap growing in the fluid, and then they get crap. So I talked about this. I think it was on the Midnight Ride last month. Just reading the side chat here. See, and the thing is, some things you can get. Like I said, you may not. Nobody in your family may be a diabetic, but hey, getting a glucose meter may give you in a bad. If someone's starting to get the symptoms and stuff, you can test them and see if their glucose is way off. All righty. All righty. We're past the top here, so let me grab over here real quick here and bring up what's coming up here. So tomorrow is Wednesday. Courtney is going live at 7 Eastern. She'll probably be live for 2 hours. Since I wasn't feeling good yesterday and I out for Camp Patton Family Compound, I didn't do the live yesterday. I'm going to do it tomorrow at 10 Eastern. And so I'm going to go live tomorrow at 10 Eastern for what was supposed to be the Monday Fireside Chat. And we're going to talk about that stuff tomorrow. Thursday night at 11:55 p.m. Thursday night is the Midnight Ride. Open chat, and we'll talk about whatever you guys want to talk about. This Friday on Camp Patton Family Compound. And if someone could throw up the channel link for Camp Patton Family Compound for me, please, I'd appreciate it. For those that don't know about it, can get over there. PM, all my stuff is in the evening. So it's 10 p.m. Eastern, just like tonight's was 10 p.m. Eastern. All right. So Friday, we're getting back into gardening. So Friday night, the topic is favorite versus most used garden tools. So we'll be talking garden tools Friday night on Camp Patton Family Compound. Then Monday is on Camp Patton Family Compound for the 20th. It's going to be open chat. Probably going to be drifting towards gardening and stuff there, plants, grow lights and stuff like that, because it's the season to be drifting that way. Which reminds me, if anybody has a topic they'd want me to bring up either here on Gray Man Prepping for prepping and stuff, or over on Camp Patton Family Compound for gardening and homesteading and such, animals and all that, email me, either channel. Emails on the About page, and for also lost the microphone too. So I lost communication with the camera, so that's what happened. Yeah. All right. So so if you have any topics you would like for me to add to the put into the schedule, email me, please. Camp Patton Family Compound, one big long word. And there's the link. So it'd be like Camp Patton Family Compound, just like it is right here. Camp Patton Family Compound at gmail.com, and send it to me, except it's all small letters, no capital letters in it. All righty. Start over. All righty. So those are some of the topics coming up here in the next week. And so I got a lot of topics up, but for Monday nights right now, we're running pretty much open coming up for the next several weeks or so. So any topics or suggestions for topics, any requests, feel free to do it. Like I said, tonight's was a request from Keith Kronk. He wanted me to address this topic, but I didn't see Keith in it, which means he'll probably come back in and watch it later. All right. So everyone, thank you for coming in. And I froze again. That was just the normal freeze. And so as always, everyone, stay happy no matter what life throws at you. Stay safe. Don't go out and do anything foolish. Keep adding to your preps. Water, food, medicine, clothing, and skills. Learn skills to make you more valuable. All right? Everyone, thank you. See you later. Have a good night.